You know, I said I wasn't going to. I said I was not going to make a video about the state of camera reviews because there's like 60 of y'all and 40 of those are probably my mom following me. But I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make this video anyway. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to clean some of my camera stuff while I'm sitting here talking about it because I had a shoot over the weekend and my ND filters, I swear they always get dirty. I always have fingerprints on them or whatever. And it's a beautiful day outside. I mean, it's sunny, it's nice. You can see how nice it looks back there. The only thing I hate about it is it's summer, so it's humid out. Especially like the next day after it rains and it's all just like sticky feeling, you know what I mean? But anyway, that has nothing to do with this video, so we're gonna jump right into it. You see, the thing with a lot of this is, are you being lied to? And that's how a lot of us feel, right? Is these guys create these massive, cool videos, getting you to buy this equipment, and now it's like, hold up, can I trust your opinion anymore, right? Because you might have followed them for years, right? You might have been able to be like, okay, I'm watching their video every time they drop it. Every time they have something, I'm gonna comment on it. They comment back, whatever it might be. And those guys are trying to develop a trust for you to have with them, right? Even if you haven't met them, even if you don't know them, they're trying to develop that trust for you to have. But now all of a sudden it's like, wait, what happened? They're lying to us about how good these cameras actually are. And now everybody's seeing that some of these things aren't as good as they're saying. Then you go back and you watch reviews from years ago and you're like, oh yeah, that was a thing. They did that before. This isn't something new. This conversation probably a lot of you had with your friends when other camera gear came out and then you went out and bought it. It doesn't have to be just cameras. It could be backpacks. It could be whatever. And you're like, hold up, this wasn't as good as I thought. You know, you can look at it and be like, yeah, they're good, but this isn't what I was expecting. I've noticed issues that they didn't talk about in that video. Why? A lot of these places are getting guys to cut stuff out of videos. And I know that's really not allowed, but that's what's going on. Right now, it's going on with the Insta360 X4. You're seeing that right now where they told a few creators, were like, hey, this does not look good. Can you cut this out of your video? Or say you're not sponsored by us. Or they were telling people like to not say that they were sponsoring them because they didn't want that to be in there, even though it's illegal. So then it comes down to, whoa, if these guys were creating stuff and posting that because they got told not to, but they knew they were doing something wrong, because a lot of these guys know when you're sponsored by somebody, you have to disclaim it in the beginning of a video. But a lot of people aren't doing that. And then it just comes back to, can I trust these people? And this is what I think is most interesting. It doesn't matter how great your reputation is, that thing could be gone within a matter of minutes. This isn't just about these cameras that are coming out right now. This has gone on for years. We've seen this with old cameras, some of those old Lumix cameras, an old Fuji, Canon, Sony, and all you saw was how great it was. I can do this, it's got this in it. But then you go to use it and you're like, hold up, why is it overheating? Nobody said anything about overheating. And now you gotta take the good and the bad, right? You've gotta think about it that these guys only have it in their hands for X amount of time and they've got to get a video churned out very fast, so they don't have all the time to do that. Like they might only had 2 weeks with it while you're having 3 months with it, and that's when you're seeing it. But that also comes to, are they turning out videos too fast? And it gets back to my other favorite topic of how are they using the gear? Are they using the gear the same way you are? Are they using the R5 for a wedding maybe and you're just letting it sit there and you're having to record the whole thing? And all of a sudden it's starting to overheat and you didn't know about that, but they only used it for like small little videos that they could show in their YouTube video. So there's a lot of different variables that come into play with this, but it doesn't change the fact that sometimes there's just crappy products that are being put out and people are acting like they're the greatest thing in the world, even though they're not good. But then it's like, who can you trust, right? How do you know who you can trust on this platform? And I'm not saying you can't trust big channels. There's big channels out there that are great. Jared Polin is one where he does great job telling you, going through the specs and all that, what's good with it, what's bad with it, why it's a piece of garbage, why it's just a copycat of the next camera, and why you shouldn't upgrade or why you could upgrade, and gives different reasons, because guess what? He's not sponsored by a lot of these people. They might send him a camera on a loaner, but because he's so hypercritical, he doesn't always get that equipment, and sometimes he borrows it from somebody or sometimes he rents it. And my favorite time of the day, you probably won't see it, but coming through right there, look, they changed the flight patterns and all the planes are kind of flying overhead. I don't know if y'all can see it like over that way. And you have people like Tony and Chelsea Northrup, they do a great job. And he is critical of some of these cameras. He'll tell you what he loves, what he doesn't love. They did a great job on their X100V versus the X106 that came out from Fujifilm. and if you should upgrade, why you shouldn't upgrade, what's the difference, and showing all those things. But that's where I'll jump into it. It's like, what would we do if we're in that same situation? If somebody offered to fly me to Japan to create videos, to test this camera for me to throw on, to make more money, what would I do? You know, what would I do in that situation? Would I create that video and not say anything negative? But then you have smaller content creators, and I'm gonna link all these people below that I mentioned, but one of my favorites right now is It's Sky. He lives over in Amsterdam, and he just vlogs. But one of the things he pointed out the other day was, why would I sacrifice my reputation with my audience for a piece of gear I'm getting for free? There's no point of that. There's no point of anything like that, because you need your audience to follow you, to trust you about what you're reviewing. Not, oh, I'm gonna make 500 bucks off of this because they sent me the camera and I'm gonna sell it, or whatever it is. And that's where it's like, no, I'm gonna give the positive and the negative about what I see and give you my personal opinion. And that's what a lot of people forget, is this is personal opinions. You know, your opinion is gonna be different than my opinion. I may love these Freewell filters, and I'm gonna have a comment from somebody else because I did a video on this where they hated these filters. And guess what? I get it, because they don't like the fact that you have to have this part and this part in front of your camera in order to use it. So I get what they're talking about, but think about it. But then I got other people like my friend Neil Lopez out of South Carolina who does great work, and he just sits there, gets the gear sent to him from some of these companies and does quick reviews on them. Yeah, this is cool, I like this, The audio sounds good on this, but is it as good as the audio on this? Is the footage as good on this as it is on this? And basically just gives an honest assessment. I think that's what people want, is honest assessments. You don't need everything to be this huge cinematic whatever, when you just want an honest assessment of, is this good or isn't it? Should I buy it? Shouldn't I buy it? You kind of just show what it's like to use it. People trying to be too cinematic, like make small movies with this gear, versus actually showing what it's like to use that gear every day, day in and day out. So can you trust YouTube reviews? Well, can you trust that person? And that's just gonna be up to you, whether you think you can trust them or not. So why does it matter? It doesn't. It truly doesn't matter what anybody says. You have to make the decision for yourself whether that person that you're watching the video of you can trust or not.